Welcome. My name is Libet Wolf, and I am here with Mary Taverna, an inductee into the 2002 Marin Women's Hall of Fame in the areas of social change and health and medicine. Congratulations and welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Libet.
For over 25 years, your work has touched hundreds and thousands of people, and it all started here in Marin. In 1975, when you became a part of one of two hospice in the United States. Marin is an important place for you, and so why don't we start there, and why don't you talk to me about kind of being born and raised in this part of Northern California?
Great. I'd like to recap some of that for you. I was born in San Rafael Hospital, which is no longer here, San Rafael General. I think it was called the Cottage Hospital. And that was in the early 40s. I'll leave it there, the early 40s. And I lived all my life in Marin, most of it out in West Marin, in a little town called Olema, had a population of 60. And growing up as a child out there was very exciting, very interesting. Being a teenager out there, more challenging, and then ultimately as a young adult, I found that I wanted more that the big cities had to offer, but it was a wonderful place to live, and still is a wonderful place for so many of my family.
So let's kind of get into what led you on the path of life that you chose.
I'm a nurse by training, and it was certainly nursing that brought me into this current position, and obviously what's been a part of this whole opportunity to advance healthcare and certainly be recognized as I have been most recently by the Marin County Women's Hall of Fame, which is a great honor, which I appreciate so very much. But it was really my desire to be a nurse, my interest in people's well-being and their comfort, and really seeing that I could bring to the bedside in this case my skills as a person, as a clinician, and really get invested in the well-being of many people. I learned very early in my career that I love nursing. I really had a strong passion for it. I still have a passion for it, but I'm not practicing. But I really saw firsthand what could be done by nurses at the bedside, by women, because most of us were women in those days. There are many men now who are nurses, but in those days it was mostly a career for a woman. And I saw what could be done at the bedside to improve the circumstances. They were challenging for many people, new experiences, new surroundings, unknown territory, uncertain futures, pending loss. All of these issues were pretty powerful issues for people. It was very painful to know they were dealing with it alone or in isolation, or at the end of a hall in some ward. So it was really nursing that got my attention. It was really what happens in our healthcare setting that got my attention, and ultimately what led me to the path of being involved in hospice. New concept in the United States, a new movement that really focused on quality of life. And so my concern for the well-being and the quality of patients that were in for something very minor or something very major was really the impetus and the motivation for taking that skill, that awareness, that desire outside of the hospital walls, if you would.
So how long were you in nursing?
I started practicing nursing in 1962. And I practiced on and off for many years, and I say on and off because I raised two children. So I took a little bit of time off, and then I worked part-time, and then I worked nights depending at their particular age. And so I was practicing nursing from 62 on almost continuously, both full and part-time. And in 1976, I took my nursing skills to the newly developing Hospice of Marin.
And that's where it all started.
And that's where it started. That's exactly right.
Can you tell us a little bit about hospice?
Hospice is, as I said just a moment ago, it's a fairly new concept in this country. It's no longer that new in reality, because we are the second hospice program in the United States and the first on the West Coast. And hospice roots generated really in Europe and in many of our neighbors there in various communities in Europe, in London. Our real role model is London, because in London there's a hospice called St. Christopher's. And St. Christopher's is an inpatient setting founded by a wonderful, terrific woman named Dame Cicely Saunders. And Dame Saunders is a very tall woman. When she walks into a room, you know she's in the room, and she commands a presence. Terrific lady who wanted to really do a better job with people at end-of-life care. She wanted it so desperately that she was a nurse who injured her back in the war. She became a social worker to counsel. And in her counseling, she learned that there were a lot of not only medical needs for people who were dying, but there were emotional needs, practical needs, spiritual needs. And she learned a great deal more about this area of healthcare. She was a nurse, she knew about the medical side of things. And then she learned about the psychosocial, the emotional side through her counsel work as a social worker. Hospice is, again, a very old concept. It has a word that means really journey, traveling from one destination to another. We think about it as traveling really on life's final journey, because we do focus on end of life. And we see end of life as an opportunity for people to do a lot of things. Complete family business, say goodbye to loved ones, be a part of a process that's as important as the birthing process. You know, when a birth occurs, everyone is excited, everyone's involved. Fathers and in-laws and siblings are very often in delivery rooms now. It's no longer an isolated incident just for the mom. And same thing about death. The hospice movement has brought death out of the end of the hall, isolated environments, to more of being a part of the family, to involving family members, to including them in decisions, to involving them in the care, to taking the a terminally ill person home from an institutional setting to his or her residence, where it can be with loved ones, be with pets, in familiar surroundings, and just be comfortable. So it's really about taking what I would say the isolation, the loneliness, the fear out of the dying process and humanizing it and involving many people in that process. So hospice's role is really about helping facilitate what's valuable and important at end of life. So
no wonder you have wanted to be a part of this.
I wanted desperately to be a part of it, and as I said, I really wanted it so badly that I resigned my salaried position because there was no money for hospice in the early 70s. It was an untried concept here in the United States. We were only the second program. The medical community was looking at us like, what's this about? The lay population was saying, and as clinicians, we were feeling our way to some degree. We had some of the principles, but nonetheless, this is a huge undertaking. Right. So it was a great opportunity to help to get involved at the early stage, to learn, to teach others, to develop standards, to secure reimbursement for hospice care, and ultimately, and in Marin County, which is what this is about, the Marin County Women's Hall of Fame, to bring a program that truly has no equal, that is available to the entire community without regard for ability to pay, that helps people at a time. I always say hospice walks in when everyone else walks out. And they don't walk out of desire, they walk out because of ignorance and just not feeling equipped with what to do.
Let's talk about some challenges that you came up against in 1976 when there were two of you working at this newly formed grassroots organization.
The early challenges were many. First of all, it was to see if we could get the concepts, the principles embraced by the medical profession. That took a while. It took the opportunity to work with a few patients and families, for physicians to see, this makes sense. For them to say, okay, because they need to be involved with us. They need to be a partner and not look at this, they needed to not look at this type of care as outside the norm of medicine. it needed to be respected for a very valuable medical program. So that was challenge number one, because you don't change physician behavior easily. It took examples, and it took patience, and it took doing a good job. So from the get-go, if you would, we had to be about quality. There was no money to pay anybody. We had just a few people, but people have to live, people have to earn a living. And so we had to learn how to do our work mostly with professional volunteers, all who had jobs, who needed to be available to us quite frequently. Because hospice is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And we are available. So you could get a call at 2 in the morning, you could get a call at 3 in the morning, and you needed to go. You needed to be available. So finding the labor was a challenge. Figuring out how to get paid was a huge challenge, and that took a long time. That wasn't until 1983 that we really got something done there. So it was a long time of piecemealing, you know, community donations. The American Cancer Society gave us our first grant. You know, how you remember first?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? I remember that very first grant that came in, which gave us a few dollars to pay. So the challenges were always there, and they still are, although they're a bit less today, and there are more people involved. But for a few people, you just had to keep saying, we can do this, we believe in it. And I think that what kept us going, and certainly kept me going, as it was one challenge after another, was the fact that people kept saying, this is really good, this is important to us. And when you're getting that kind of feedback, this is good, this is important to us, you can't walk away. Too many people are depending on you. Too many people are counting on you. I'm a nurse by training. I did not know about administration, nor did I want it at all. But our program was young, it was in its development, there was a need to appoint a new director, and our board wanted me to take it, and I said no. They said again, I said no. Finally I said, you know what, if I really believe so much in this program, then I need to get into this leadership spot and give it a try. So I spent many long nights at my kitchen table poring over budgets, which were pretty foreign concepts to me. But eventually I learned, and I learned, and I learned. And we learn every day, and I think that's one of the gifts from hospice, is that we learn every day. Something from a person we are having an encounter with, many wonderful gifts and lessons from patients and families with whom we work. And we learn a lot about how to take our knowledge and take it to the next level. So challenge is not an unfamiliar word, or certainly any matter that has been problematic for us. Hard? Absolutely. Were we alone sometimes? Definitely. Did we fail sometimes? Absolutely. But we kept coming back because people would say, we need this. We need you to advocate for us. And when so many people are counting on you, how can you not do what you know is right to do?
Right. I have read that when hospice around the United States started, people would come to Marin and take classes from you. And so you have become this mentor. Who was your mentor, or who was your role model for good or for bad, that kind of helped you along during your life and into your career and what you're doing now?
You know, it's a terrific question, because I've thought about this in any number of times or in any number of circumstances. And as I'm talking with staff members or others who inquire, the mentors that I can identify are a number. First and foremost, obviously, Dame Saunders. You know, she was with her presence and with her absence, definitely someone that you wanted to model. But I think that the mentors that continued year after year and truly helped me were people who came to our environment for varieties of reasons. Might have been a board member, might have been a donor, people who were leaders in their own field, whatever that may be. Not the hospice field, because there weren't any, but people who were leaders in their own field, who, again, would provide coaching and counseling as it related to maybe personnel matters, maybe financial matters, maybe fundraising matters. Those are the mentors that I remember over and over and over and speak about, because they taught me tools and gave me skills I didn't have to round out my professional development so that I could do what I ended up doing. So I've had many in all walks of life, and they've changed, you know, as I become more skilled in my career, then I have to go to a higher level to find a new mentor. But again, the example that hospice families give us and the opportunity they give us to learn, you know. So many people can be a mentor if you just let them, you know, just listen to what they have to say. And if someone believes in you, that's the best. That's the best mentoring, to know that someone else believes that you can be a success.
When you started, there must have been a great vision, and you've talked about learning and moving through, you know, the trials and tribulations. And did your vision remain constant? Has it changed? I know that you've changed to the foundation, the Hospice Foundation, but has your vision remained the same?
Yes, I would say it has remained the same. I think that it probably expanded throughout the years. I mean, originally the vision was learn how to do this work, do it well, and then the vision was make it available to as many people as possible. And then the vision was about really making sure, as the founding, not truly the founding, I was the second, but as the long-term chief executive officer, that I transitioned my professional, in my professional career, so that the hospice would have the best leadership succeeding me, because I'd been there so long. And companies take on, you know, the personality and the style of the leader, and when somebody's been there 25 years, that's a long time. And it's a not-for-profit organization governed by a community board, and those are volunteers. So how could I do the best job to protect the entity that I'd worked so hard to create into the future? And so the vision got bigger. It was about then expanding it so it would carry well into the future. And then it became expanded so that we take our expertise around end of life that we've gained all of these years, and we apply that knowledge and expertise to a bigger and wider, you know, wider population, and maybe a wider geographic area, as that's important. So the core of the vision never changed, but the depth of it definitely changed throughout the years.
How long do you think you'll stay with hospice? Can you say?
I don't know. There are people who say I'll probably never leave, but I will leave at some point in time. It takes an incredible toll on one. Long hours, long days, emotional energy. But we say at Hospice of Marin, we have well over 100 employees now, and someone will resign and we'll say, you'll be back. And that's true. They're usually back. Sometimes they need a break or whatever. So we say no one ever truly leaves hospice as an employee, because it's such a wonderful place to work. So I think, though, at some point in time, it's time, and yes, I'll definitely leave my career and stay involved some way, but not in the same intimate manner. I've had a wonderful opportunity.
You have spent a lot of your life and time and efforts in making sure that hospice becomes what you want it to become. What do you do that's not involving hospice?
One of the things we always look at when we hire people is how balanced their life is, because it is important to have a good balanced life, whatever balanced is for people. But I have 2 children that I mentioned who are raised now, who have children of their own. I have a wonderful husband, and he worked in Marin County for 31 years as well. And so together we have a wonderful life of raising our family, enjoying our grandchildren tremendously, traveling with good friends, and my great passion. You asked what I was going to do after hospice. I think I'd like to hit the golf circuit, you know, and be a fabulous golfer. But really that I've learned what is important is to have a good and meaningful personal life, and to really live that life to the fullest as I live my hospice life to the fullest, because my friends and my family give me great meaning, and I appreciate them, and they've been a great support. So basically it's a pretty unusual life, but it's a lot about family. It's a lot about family values, quality, enjoying everybody, every moment that I can. And we've started now that our children are raised to try to travel more and play more golf, because it's out in touch with nature, and it's really wonderful.
So they say that if you find something that you're very passionate about, it never seems like work. And to me, it sounds like that's what you have. And I guess the question is, are you happy with who you are and what you are doing and what you've accomplished?
I'm very happy with what has been accomplished. I'm very happy with who I am. If I could play it over again, I'd try to do a better job of time management, so that I had a little more time for me and a little more time for the things that are so meaningful that I've referenced. I never, ever felt I shortchanged my family, and they would attest to that. It was very clear. Family came first, and my career came second. And with those priorities, it was very easy to sort it out and make it all work. So I never was at work feeling guilty about what I should be doing at home, because home came first. But I could have done a better job of time management as a professional woman as it related to some of my own personal needs, because I'm nearing the end of my career, and I'm finding that I didn't do as good a job as I should have with maintenance of relationships with friends. You know, some of your really good friends carry on with you through the thick and the thin. Those that you haven't developed that closer relationship for, you know, you have to work at it. Everything is about working on relationships. And I missed some opportunities there that I regret having missed, but I can't play it again.
Right.
It's the tape's rolling, as they say. Yeah.
But it's never too late.
No, it's never too late to catch it right.
For a lot of young women, young girls, young women especially, what advice can you give as a very successful woman in so many different aspects of your life? I know that's a big question.
It's a big question, but there's a couple of things I'd like to say. First and foremost, I think it's essential that young women always believe they can do something. Believe you can do what you want to do. And if you believe you can do it, then you've got one hurdle crossed. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable, because there are days, even today, when I am not comfortable in a particular situation, but I experience it and then try to reflect on it and learn what I've learned from it to move to the next step. So I believe that it's important always to believe in what you want to be, to believe you can be good at it, to surround yourself as best you can with people who can help you accomplish that. To be open to the input and to take it, and to really appreciate the fact that you're always learning. Every single day of your life, you're always learning. And if you think you've arrived and you've gotten it, well, you've just missed the mark. It's a hard climb to the top of what I do not know. I think we'll be forever climbing to the top, as particularly as women, looking for professional opportunities and definitely leadership opportunities. But again, one of the principles that I've always operated under and do subscribe to today is I'm about quality. I'm about high ethics. And when you've got that in your camp, you're on the way to success. It's just very important, I think, to always keep the cleanest record about your performance that you can, and to certainly make sure that you're about quality. Because if you do that, people respect you. Mm-hmm. If you're willing to get out of your comfort zone, if you're willing to take a chance on some of the unknowns, people will give you that chance. I had a chance. I was given a wonderful opportunity. I had a choice. Take it or leave it. And I told you I was ambivalent, ambivalent, ambivalent. I had to make a choice. And I finally said, take it. Trembling all the way and really being at that kitchen table doing budgets, nauseous because I was so anxious about could I accomplish this and could I really, make it. So those are some of the words of wisdom I would tell anyone, and have done that many times whenever I have an opportunity to speak to particularly young people. I graduated from Marin Catholic and was invited back to speak to their students. And I loved the opportunity to speak to them and basically said, pretty much what I'm saying to you, and that was to embrace the fear and move through it in a way that's very productive.